Yeah. The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what
Welcome into the Fanatic, a sports show for sports fans by sports fans. It's your boy Coach I, and you know I got the stat guy with me. What's up, stat guy?
Hey, what's good, Coach? Man, it's been a minute since we've linked up on this.
I know it, man. We took a little hiatus for the conference championships, but we back at it, man. It's bowl time now, man. And listen, we got a lot of good previews coming, even though the portal is jumping oh no, man, like jumping like a party in a beach party in the summer. But there's some people that's declared for the draft, but there's still a lot of talent left on some of these teams. How you feeling going into this bowl season, man?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. And be honest, man, there's positives and negatives to the portal, but man, does it make these first couple weeks of December interesting. You got the portal, you got the early signing period, who's going to step on campus for bowl practice. It's actually stuff to look forward to as a college football fan and not just waiting around for a football game. So definitely the message boards are still on fire. And I was going to tell you, I guess, man, the transfer portal must think its home base is Wisconsin or something, the way these kids are jumping around.
I'm telling you, bro, like just like the song when they played in the stadium, man, like over 1,000 kids hit the portal the first day it was open, man. That's absolutely bonkers. But nevertheless, there's some left that's going to be playing in these bowl games. We got a good show for y'all today. So I know the people that normally rock with me and the stat guy, man, y'all like, man, what's going on, man? We don't have a banner up top to know what we're talking about. It's because we got a bowl preview show for you today where we're going to be talking about 7 different bowl games, man. We're going to be talking about the Peach Bowl between Georgia and Ohio State, Fiesta Bowl, Michigan, and TCU. Of course, those are the college football playoff games. Holiday Bowl, Oregon, USC, and then Las Vegas Bowl, Florida, Oregon State. Rose Bowl is Penn State and Utah. That's going to be a good matchup, by the way. I don't care who opts out of that game. Orange Bowl featuring the 2 teams that lost to Beamer Bowl, Clemson and Tennessee. And then we're going to finish off with the Gator Bowl. My guy, Stat Guy, is happy about that after calling the 8-4 early in the season, Notre Dame and South Carolina. And as an added bonus, we have at least some of the fans have committed to coming on to the show to talk about their team as we go along. So just out of those ones we talked about, besides South Carolina, which matchup are you most intrigued with?
As far as game-wise, the one I think that just screams it's going to be amazing college football game is the Rose Bowl. Utah, Penn State. I can't wait for that game, man. That game is going to be awesome. 2 teams, they just play hard-nosed football. They're going to line up. They're going to come at you for 4 quarters. That game's going to be awesome. And then obviously the other game that'll pique my interest is going to be we should have been playing in the playoffs, but instead we're hanging out in Florida playing for some sport oranges. Between Tennessee and Clemson. They say both teams are wearing orange, so that might look cool. I don't know, but it'll just be a joy watching that game and following along on Twitter as both fan bases complain about not being in the playoffs.
Yeah. Of course, outside of the CFP, I think those 2 are going to be highly viewed. But I'm with the Orange Bowl, man. The Orange Bowl and, like you say, the Rose Bowl. The Orange Bowl, I know Clemson had about 9 guys hit the portal, but not a lot of those. I don't think, many of those guys were starters, and then a couple of them were contributors, not many of them. But I think for the most part, those 2 teams got a lot of people, the core people staying. I know Tennessee doesn't have Henry Hooker, but, hey, Milton put up 56 points on Vandy as if Hooker was never gone. So I think both of those teams are definitely looking for some redemption in bowl season because nobody wants to finish, on that sour note, literally missing out on the playoffs because they lost to South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? So what bowl game of the 7 do you think has the potential to be the route?
probably the one I'm thinking that's probably going to be the closest to the route is either going to be Georgia boat racing Ohio State, or it's going to be Oregon State, Florida. While I just don't know what Florida's going to bring to the table with AR already entering the draft. It wasn't like they were great offensively to begin with. So those are kind of my two that I think could get out of hand or get ugly.
I'm with you. I don't, the Florida Las Vegas Bowl, they're going out, going out west. It's not much elevation there, change or nothing like that, but at least Oregon State, I think, will have more fans. I don't think that stadium will be filled, though, because I don't think Florida fans really care that much. We'll hopefully have a Florida fan on later and give his sentiments, but Oregon State has been a sneaky good team this year, at least very competitive, so I'm with that game right there. I don't know if I share the same sentiments as you with the Dogs and the Buckeyes, but I seem to be in the minority. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Let's talk about the Peach Bowl going down in the A-Town between Georgia and Ohio State. Georgia's second indoor facility down there off of Mercedes driveway. So what's your initial thoughts on this game, Stat Guy?
Man, Ohio State needed a little help, and boy, did they get it to backdoor their way into the playoffs after the performance they had in their big rivalry game against Michigan. But look, man, end of the year, this is where you want to be. You want to be one of the final four teams standing, and here they are. And so they have to come down south. They got to go to Georgia to play the Dogs in their backyard. And really, honestly, let's look at it. The Mercedes-Benz Dome is turned into the house that Georgia built. Right, it's almost like they built that just for y'all to get a couple extra home games every year, whether it be playoffs or the Chick-fil-A kickoff. So, it's going to be a good game. Ohio State is still a good team, but there have been some times this year against subpar competition that they have not looked at peak. And Georgia has done Georgia things to the primetime competition all year long. When the money's been down, y'all crush the teams that they thought were going to be the teams that give you kind of the run for your money.
Yeah, I think Georgia's been up and down based on their not up and down as in losing. Neither has Ohio State, other than the Michigan game. But like the Missouri game and the Kent State game, of course, stand out. I think the Kentucky score is a little bit misleading because it was 16-0 at halftime, and Georgia pretty much tried to take the air out of the ball and get out of there with no injuries. Ohio State, the only two games that I would say that of course I was all the way surprised by the Michigan outcome. I did not expect Michigan to, dominate the second half like they did. Ohio State jumped out, like 14-3. I thought when it was 14-3, I was like, oh yeah, Ohio State getting some revenge. It's over. You know what I'm saying? They're going to run away with it, especially since Blake Corum only played like 2 plays in the first quarter, and then that was it. But then Michigan handled business and got physical with them. But the two games that surprised me, like that they couldn't score on Notre Dame. And I know people like to say, well, it's the first game. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it a little bit different. I look at it like this. You had since February, January, whenever you do winter drills, you know what I'm saying? And then you go through spring. You're watching film for 8 months plus. So that first game, I think you should be ready. I think coaches should be ready. Players should be ready. I think Notre Dame came ready. I don't think I think Ohio State offense was in, I guess it put in shock when Jackson Smith and Jigba got hurt, early in the game. And then it was like they couldn't really throw the ball. Notre Dame was ready for that. And then the Northwestern game, I get it. It was raining. The winds was like 1 billion miles per hour. But what that showed me is you put that game with the 2021 Michigan game. It shows me that Ohio State's not good in inclement weather. Good thing for Ohio State, we're playing in the dome. We got to worry about the weather. That's why I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on this matchup. Ohio State's going to put up. I think Ohio State's going to put up some numbers. I think Georgia's going to put up some numbers. I don't want it to be a shootout, but I think either team can actually win in the shootout. What are you thinking like the Florida game is going to be?
So, I mean, you're looking at two offenses, Georgia averaging just shy of 40 a game. Ohio State, even with only scoring, 23 against Michigan, is still averaging 44 a game. You're talking about two prolific scoring offenses. I definitely see kind of a shootout style. And the reason that worries me for Ohio State is because of how good y'all's defense is. And so Ohio State's only given up 19 points a game. Georgia's only given up 12. But I just if it's that type of game, if it's in that like 19 to 17 type range, I think that's what it's going to take for Ohio State to win. But I don't know how comfortable they feel playing in a close game with the money on the line against a big team. So I think Ohio State would feel better if it gets into that shootout style. We talk about teams' comfort zones. And I think a team that likes to score 40 points a game would feel more comfortable if the game's closer in the 35s to 40s versus if the game's closer in the low 20s or the teens. And I just don't know if the shootout advantage goes to Ohio State because if you're telling me one defense is going to make a stop to win the game, my money's going to be on Georgia's defense to make that stop before Ohio State.
That's an interesting take. I could definitely see that. Okay, I can see that. I think it's going to be interesting to see Georgia's DBs against the best wide receiver core they faced all year. I know we played Tennessee, but to me, Cedric Tillman is, he's a big body receiver. He's really good, all conference caliber. It was only his first game back, I think. They targeted him a lot, though. Jalen Hyatt, they did kind of hold Jalen Hyatt under control. Brew McCoy, I think is a great athlete. I don't think he's necessarily a great receiver. I think with Ohio State brings three really good and two elite receivers. I think Emeka Ibuka, I think that's how you say his name. Him and Marvin Harrison Jr. are the two elite ones. I think Julian Phillips is really good. And then, they split their tight end out a lot, number 8. I don't know what his name is. And it's going to be interesting to see if Travion Henderson is going to be healthy. The last couple of games, their other running back had to carry the load, Mayan Williams, and they got like a true freshman guy. So it's going to be interesting. I think the thing is, I think you'll see something from Georgia on defense similar to Tennessee where they try to pressure definitely up the middle. And one thing about C.J. Stroud, he can run, but he is very, very reluctant to run. I think out of all the quarterbacks in the playoffs, he's the most reluctant to run, only when absolutely necessary. So, but I would say I think he's probably definitely the most accurate of all the quarterbacks.
Well, so something that we haven't brought up yet that I definitely wanted to get your opinion on is this Ohio State defense, though they got gashed on the ground against Michigan, is only giving up 119 yards a game in the rushing attack, but they are facing a stable, and when I say stable, I mean stable, of running backs down at running back U down there at the UGA. I mean, y'all are averaging 207 a game, and that's without having a cat that's going for like 120, 130. It's the whoever offense when y'all run the ball. Y'all don't care who gets it. They just going to tote that thing. What's your thoughts?
I think we will be able to run. I think initially they will, like everybody. I think for some reason people still haven't grasped the concept that we're not the same Georgia, that we were in 2017. It's like almost hard for them to grasp that concept. We're not the run, pass team. We are very effective running the ball. But like you said, like Stetson Bennett has completed passes to 21 different people this year, which is why I know some of the Ohio State fans. I saw one guy on Twitter looked at it, was like our leading receiver is Brock Bowers. He has like a little bit over 700 yards receiving. It's because so many people actually catch the ball. I don't think it's hard for our running backs to go for 1,000 every season because so many of them get the ball. I think that's going to be the challenge for Ohio State's defense is who are you trying to stop? Are you trying to line up and stop Brock Bowers and then Darnell Washington and then let Ladd McConkey and A.D. Mitchell looks to be healthy, which a lot of people don't realize. Ohio State and Georgia both did something that a lot of people didn't have to do. They came into the season with all conference receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigba being All-American, but both actually got hurt in the first game. Now, A.D. Mitchell actually played the whole game. A.D. Mitchell got hurt the first series of the Sanford game, which was the second one, but the rest of the season, neither one of those guys pretty much played. A.D. Mitchell lined up in the SEC championship a couple times. I think we tried to throw it to him one time in the end zone. But I think that's the challenge for Ohio State, is trying to match up with all the weapons that we have. I think Georgia's challenge on the other side isn't necessarily, I know people look at it and say, oh, you got to stop Marvin Harrison. Like, Marvin Harrison is one of these players, you don't stop him, you try to slow him down. You know what I mean? It's just like basketball. You don't stop, the top scorer if they're always getting the buckets. You try to make sure everybody else is held in check. If Marvin Harrison goes for 150 and 2 touchdowns, I mean, if nobody else is doing anything, that's fine with me. I mean, last year when we played Clemson in the opener, it's kind of the same way. And Gator went for over 100 yards, but nobody else did anything. So I think that's going to attack it. And I think our running backs will be able to get some yardage. And you know how Kirby likes to lean on them in the second half. So if we're able to get a double-digit, like 14 to 17-point lead, then, yes, you will see a heavy dose of those guys. And I think it's going to come down to how many people Ohio State rotating that front seven.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, man, for those at home that don't believe that Georgia's running back man, you're talking about 4 running backs. You got one averaging over 7 yards a pop, 2 averaging over 5 yards a pop, and then the fourth is only averaging, a lonely 4.9 yards a pop. And it's not like these are on like 5 or 6 carries. These are still on a year's worth of carries, man, that these dudes just know how to get yards. And it's an everybody backfield. And, I think that's kind of the shame for Georgia is not having that 1,000-yard runner. And we were talking about it, like Brock Bowers might bust off a 60-yard touchdown completion, or, you've got a running back break 230s, but then doesn't get the touchdown to solidify his stats because he gets pulled down the red zone. And so it is a shame that you don't have that one bell cow. But, man, that backfield, those dudes could go anywhere else in the country and be All-Americans, it seems like.
Yeah, I think Kenny McIntosh is going to be counted on in the run game and the pass game. He's actually like over 700 yards rushing, but also over 400 yards receiving as well. So I think that'll be the matchup that Ohio State may try to focus on as well. Now, what does Ohio State, give me something that they need to do to win the game?
They have to sustain drives. So not necessarily score, because like I said, I think if this gets into a shootout, it favors Georgia immensely because Georgia's more likely to get the stop before Ohio State. Ohio State just needs to sustain drives. They can't go 3 and out, let this defense get some fire to them, let them start pinning their ears. Even if it's for a field goal or even a long drive and then a punt, they just need to put some drives together and take some clock off of the game clock and kind of work with Georgia on that to shorten the game a little bit. Because like I said, I feel if Ohio State's going to win this game, if it gets over 25, they're in trouble. I just don't see them being able to stop Georgia's offense. So they need to sustain drives, get the points when they can, and keep their defense rested. Because when you're going 3 and out and you got a team on the other side that I feel like is probably better in the trenches than you on that side, and they're pulling it and running it down your throat, that then turns into what we saw in that Michigan second half. Ohio State couldn't put drives together, and Michigan just kept on with the train moving down the tracks.
Yeah, I think Georgia needs to get pressure up the middle, get right in C.J. Stroud's face. We cannot let him sit back there. Like I said, he's not like all these other quarterbacks, man. C.J. Stroud is super accurate. And if you just let him sit back there, he'll go back there. And listen, man, as good as the secondary and the defense is, he'll pick you apart. So I think that's the key for Georgia is getting pressure, especially up the middle. I'd rather, he get up the middle and then our edges, basically hold your rush lanes and then the edges contain, but get that rushing right up the middle with Jalen Carter and some of those other big boys. Will Muschamp, he'll dial up some pressure if he needs to. But if we can get pressure with that front four, then I think we'll be in a good space. So before we move on to the next one, give me your score prediction for Georgia, Ohio State in the Peach Bowl.
Got you. So first, I'll let you know it is a 6.5-point spread. Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite, and the over/under is 62.5. So I'm going to take the over. And I'm going to take Georgia to cover the spread. I think this turns into a shootout early, Georgia gets the stop they need, and then it gets ugly. I'm taking the Dogs to win 42-21.
Okay, and what'd you say the over under was again?
62.5.
62 and a half. Give me the over. I'm taking the Dogs 42-28. I think the Dogs get up 7, at some point between the second and third quarter. And I think they hold that lead and add on at the end. And then, of course, you know how that goes when people press at the end. I think it'll be a good game. I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining games of the bowl season just because I feel like these are the two most talented teams in the nation. I know Michigan beat Ohio State. Just because you're the most talented don't mean you always win, but that's what I see. I see Georgia 42, Ohio State 28. There you have it. Georgia, Ohio State fans, man, get in the comments. Let us know what you think the score is going to be. And what you think the keys to the game is. And on to the next bowl game. The next bowl game we're doing tonight is going to be the other college football playoff game. And that game is going to be Michigan versus TCU. Give me your initial thoughts on this game, Stat Guy.
Man, you're talking about teams that are definitely in different directions mentally, right? You're talking about a Michigan team coming off a huge win over their rival. Then looking at what they did in the Big Ten championship for the second year in a row, going up against a TCU team that had a Cinderella undefeated season all wrapped up, and they just forgot to put the bow on top. But, man, it's hard to beat a team twice. And Kansas State played them tough both times and was able to escape for the victory. So can they wash that one off and get back to doing what they've done all year long?
I'm going to tell you something TCU got going for them. It's that thing that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart talk about all the time. Rat poison. Listen, literally nobody in the media is giving TCU any kind of shot here. I'm like, TCU did win 12 games, people. And I would say, Michigan didn't fare well against Illinois. Now, Illinois has a better defense than TCU, but they don't have it. They don't have a third of the offense TCU has. Purdue was able to move the ball. Early in the season, Maryland, gave them a couple of rounds. I think TCU has enough offense to score some points on Michigan. What is the point? But we're going to do this. Of course, we're going to do predictions later. But what's the point spread and the over/under in this one?
So I'm actually really shocked by this. So Michigan is favored by 7.5. The over/under for this game is 58.5. I was definitely thinking it was going to be a lot higher, but 58.5 for the over/under is what it came in at.
58.5. Okay, yeah, I can see that though. I can see that because Michigan can play a little ugly ball if they need to. They kind of like Georgia in that way. They can play a little ugly if they need to, but as they showed against Ohio State, they can run off. But TCU's going to play. If the higher the score, I think the better for TCU. That means that both teams are moving the ball, and then I think they would like their chances if they got the ball last trying to score. If they're able to move the ball all game on Michigan, then TCU, stands a real good shot. Now they're not able to move the ball. Once Michigan lock in, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna, be able to move the ball later. So tell me who off the rip. So Donovan Edwards is 100%, but Blake Corum, I don't know what's going. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be playing in this game. But TCU has some good running backs too. Which run game you like better?
With Blake, I'm going based off of Blake Corum not playing. I think he's done. I actually like TCU's run game a little better. On the consensus that I'm including their quick hit stuff to the outside, a lot of their wide receiver screens, they run a lot of weird stuff that, we consider part of it, just like carry-ons to the run game, a lot of the quick hitting stuff to the outside. And so I really like TCU and their up-tempo offense a little bit better in that aspect as far as the run game and the short stuff.
Yeah, both quarterbacks are very heavily involved in the run game. I think they're both really good. I think Michigan wants to run. TCU doesn't necessarily want to run. They just want to move the ball, whatever that means, passing it or running it. So I think, let me take that back. I think Michigan needs to run the ball. I know they hit Ohio State deep for a lot of shots, but their MO is to, be physical with you in the trenches and run the ball at some point in time. I know it was only on a couple of runs, but Donovan Edwards still ran for like, a billion yards on Ohio State. I think they want to get in the game and run. I think if they can't run, it's one thing if you don't choose to run, but if they can't run against TCU, that'll be a problem. What is TCU offense averaging, and then tell me what Michigan's defense is giving up?
Yeah, so with TCU's offense, you're looking at 40 points a game. They go for 200 on the ground, 273 through the air, so 473 for the game. Very balanced attack with high-octane offense. And then on that other side, going up against that Michigan defense, you're looking at defense that only gives up 13 points a game, and then 85 on the ground and 141 through the air. So Michigan doesn't give up a whole lot, and that could be a big thing, that Michigan run defense versus this TCU Russian attack, because it's a little bit different of a Russian attack. It's not right at you like a lot of the teams in the Big Ten like to do, the Illinois and the Wisconsins of the world. They hit you on the outside with options and misdirection, stuff like that. So I'm very interested to see if Michigan has the speed to get outside and slow the Russian attack down.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if TCU, depth-wise with the roster, can keep up with Michigan. Duggins did everything he could to win that Big 12 championship, and you just could tell on that last drive he was absolutely gassed. And it wasn't just him; it was a lot of the other players. They have, like I said, they have great, starting 11 on both sides, but Michigan may be a little bit deeper than TCU, so I think that may come into play if this game ends up being, down to the wire type game. Michigan's defense, like you say, they're pretty nasty down there, man. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. I'm interested to see the wide receiver was Quentin Johnson for TCU, if he can get loose in that secondary. And I'm interested to see if Blake Corum doesn't play, can Donovan Edwards do it all game? I know the quarterback is in the game as well, McCarthy, JJ, and but it's different when you playing. Now Michigan has been here. Now, I know people say they didn't have a great showing last year, but it's still experience. Hey, it's like my man said on Infinity War. It's like if you call it bad experience, it's still experience, baby. You know what I'm saying? And TCU hasn't been here. Maybe the lights be too bright for them. You think that's going to play a part in it?
No, I don't, man. I think with the Sonny Dykes style offense, TCU is kind of this rare breed of they're one of those teams. They are who they are. And so I think they're going to come out and give you their shot. The key for TCU is not getting down early. I think if they get down and they have to exude that extra effort, and Max has to bring them back. I mean, that's why he was it felt like he put them on the back and single-handedly tried to carry them to that Big 12 championship and just ran out of steam towards the end. They just need a complete offensive effort and try to be fired on all cylinders like they had been for the most part of the season. But I really do. I like this TCU attack. Their offense is just fun to watch. It might be one of the best offenses in the country to watch just because it's not just one-dimensional. They can beat you in so many different facets. They can go deep. They can hit you on quick stuff and make people miss. They can blow some stuff up in the run game. I mean, it just feels like everywhere they're making plays.
Yeah, and according to the AP rankings, TCU actually had more, ranked wins than Michigan, if that counts for anything. Coaching-wise, who you going with on the coaching carousel? I mean, Jim Harbaugh's been there a while. Sonny Dykes has a lot of experience, but this is his first year at TCU. So who would you get an edge to coaching-wise?
Coaching-wise, I'd probably go with Harbaugh just because, like you said, man, it might be some bad experience. He probably has a bad taste in his mouth after what them dogs did to them last year. But, hey, he got there. He knows what it's like, knows what maybe after that game, I wish I would have said this pregame instead of that. You kind of got those things going through your head all year where he's going to be a little bit better prepared. But, sometimes coming into that thing fresh, a lot of people aren't talking about TCU. Sonny Dykes can just walk into that locker room and say, us versus the world, baby, let's go. So, but I think just head up with the coaching. I definitely think I give a slight nod, not a huge advantage, but a slight nod to Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with you on that. I think I'm gonna give Harbaugh in this particular situation because, like I said, Sonny Dykes has been a good coach. His career and especially this year at TCU, I think he actually won Coach of the Year for in the nation. But Jim Harbaugh's been here again. It doesn't matter. I know, like I say, I know they got beat, but he's been here. He knows what to expect. He knows that it's do or die. Not that TCU doesn't know it, but it's kind of like when I said, when we did that Tennessee Georgia preview, Tennessee came into the game, number one. They hadn't been number one. Georgia had. It's like sometimes that can be overwhelming for 18 to 22-year-olds. So I think that may play a factor in the game. Go ahead and give me a score prediction. Go over those over, under, and the point spread one more time, and we'll get our predictions in.
Yeah, so Michigan is favored by 7.5, and the over under for this game is going to be 58.5. I will say that I think TCU, you never want to lose, but I think TCU will be glad to lose when they did, and kind of now they can just wipe the slate clean and regroup and get ready to head into these playoffs. I think this is going to be one of the best games in the playoffs. I think this is going to turn into an offensive game early. The defense is going to settle in, and then I think we're going to see some offensive explosion late. So give me TCU to win this game 40-38.
You stole my thunder. I'm actually taking TCU for the win as well. I think both teams, like you said, will be able to score. I don't think I have it 40-38. I'm more in the 34-31 range. TCU with the late field goal after it's tied for over half a quarter. I think TCU is going to shock the world. I think one of the best things as far as trying to win this particular game that happened to TCU, like you said, was TCU actually losing the Big 12 championship. So we definitely agree there. So there it is, Michigan and TCU fans. Y'all get in the comments. Let us know what y'all think the score is going to be and what the keys to the game will be and how you feeling going into this game. So like we told you, man, we going on with these bowl previews, man, and we got another bowl coming up, man, and it is the Holiday Bowl, Oregon versus North Carolina. Now, like I say, a lot of these people, we got all these colleges or transfers and opt-outs and people declaring. Drake may say he's still at North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? He say he ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? And to talk a little bit of Oregon, North Carolina, we got my guy, Ryan Winter, a.k.a. Sports Chat 503. What's going on, guy?
What's up, my man? How we doing?
Hey, man, it's been a while, dog.
What's up, bro? We got the stat guy in the building. What up, stat guy?
Oh, let me unmute him. Go ahead, stat guy.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, man, how you feeling going into the bowl season?
Bro?
It's been a while, man.
Oh, man. Dude, what a year, huh?
Hey, it's been a roller coaster ride, man. How you feeling about the season, man?
Man, it was good. It was fun. I mean, a lot different than that first weekend in Atlanta.
Facts. But you know what? Remember I told you I felt like y'all could, lose that game and have a good season. I don't know if a lot of Oregon fans felt that way after that loss.
Right. It was all right. I mean, rebounded it, got back together, went on a great run. Just tripped up at the end, against the pesky opponents, man. You don't want to lose to the rivals, man, but you know how it goes. They get up for that game and you let them hang around, and it is what it is. We can go down that road all we want, but at the beginning of the year, we kind of thought brand new coaching staff with what they had right there in the talent, somewhere around 8, 9, 10 win season, and that's pretty much what it ended up being. Just too bad that the two losses were against the, rivals from the north, and, it's just kind of tough, there, but still, you didn't get blown out. That was the nice thing, they lost both those games close, and you find yourself in a good bowl. Holiday is a good bowl. Historically, it's a bowl, that was really good, and then I think it's kind of been downgraded quite a bit because of all the other stuff with the other bowl games, with the other the CFPs obviously killing off so much of the bowl hype and everything. But but to a place to go, San Diego is probably the best option outside of Pasadena. So we're excited. I'm going with my son. I'll be there for a week, and you know how we do for the Ducks. You know, we flock up. You know how the Ducks roll. You saw green and yellow show up in Atlanta.
They did. They showed up, man. They was deep up in there, deeper than I thought they would be. They traveled a long way, man. The Ducks do show up, man. So of the opt-outs, do you guys have any that you're like, God, I wish we had him for the bowl game?
Yeah, so, you know, when it comes to the opt-outs, so DJ Johnson's the guy. You know, he's their edge rusher. Oregon didn't put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks this year, so it's not like you're missing that much. But he is one of the best guys on that defense doing that. So next man up there. Bunch of guys went in the transfer portal. You know, really the only one that started was Dante Thornton. But you know, Maliki Monteval, one of the tight ends, he just went today. Justin Flo went the other day. You know, I
saw that.
He hadn't played that much though this year. That was one of the most disappointing things, was that whole situation. We thought that was going to be a completely different deal the way it ended up. And his younger brother went in the portal today. So it is what it is, man. I just, you know, next man up mentality. And I think, you know, now the bowl games, they're talking some crazy stuff now because, you know, a lot of these guys opt out, especially these lower bowls, you know, not outside of that New Year's Six stuff. Even New Year's Six guys are going to be opting out of whatever. But, you know, of maybe not having this game count against the eligibility of the other four games, or, you know, doing stuff like Mac Brown's doing a thing where he's like, there's like six guys, you know, they have a bunch of guys transfer portal.
All six DBs.
And he's going to, right, but he's got like six, he said he's got like six guys who, you know, they're good academically, they're good at standing, everything else. They're going to practice all the way through here. They're going to play in the bowl game and then hit the portal. They've already declared for the portal, but they're going to still play the bowl game. So there's been some crazy stuff where, like, you just got to kind of, you know, invent this thing as we go, because it's just such a new situation. But I think the Ducks are finding themselves in a pretty good bowl, Holiday Bowl. You know, it's a good location at least. And then, you know, opponent-wise, I go against the ACC, which is pretty rare. We don't get to play the ACC.
That's right.
So, you know, it's fun. You know, it'll be all right. It's not what a lot of Duck fans wanted. But, you know, at the end of that game in Atlanta, if I were to tell them, hey, what do you think about the Holiday Bowl, and you play, you know, the second best team or whatever, or third best team maybe out of the ACC, and maybe you take that. So,
yeah, I think so too, man. And it's not like North Carolina. I know a lot of people say, you know, everybody opting out, you can't get a really good look, but it's not like North Carolina was good on defense anyway. So those six DBs opting out, it's not a very good thing, but I mean, a very big thing. Josh Downs, I think he's still North Carolina fans, let us know if he's opted out. I don't think he's declared. He may have, but Stat Guy, give us some numbers on North Carolina and Oregon.
Yeah, man. So this will be a fun offensive shootout if North Carolina decides to play offense, which they haven't done the last couple of times in the field. But you're looking at an Oregon team that's averaging 39 points a game, 216 yards on the ground, another 291 through the air. So for a nasty 507, like they're sitting at the house playing Madden, and that's going up against a North Carolina defense that is giving up 31 points a game. They give up 160 on the ground, another 275 through the air. I mean, this is a defense that probably couldn't stop the three of us from going out and scoring a touchdown, even without offensive linemen. So,
listen, man, y'all averaging 39 points a game. That's including only 3 in Atlanta. That is crazy. That's a lot of points, right?
It is, and I think that, you know, you don't know what y'all. You got the offensive coordinator just left. You know, he's going down to ASU, so you know there's stuff to go through. I mean, but Bo Nix has been the guy out here. I mean, he's been a completely different guy than he was. You know, we were talking about it before that game, how, you know, it's kind of good Bo and bad Bo, and if you could just kind of harness the good Bo, you're good to go a little bit. And I think he also benefited from a very good offensive line. Oregon had one of the best offensive lines in the country. I think they had the lowest sack total of the whole country. I think they only had 3 at the very end. They went with 0 for a ton of time, you know, and finally had 1. And the 1 was like, you know, a run where he didn't get back to the line of scrimmage or whatever. But anyway, I mean, I just think that Bo Nix has done a great job. You got to give the credit, in my mind, to the players on the field. And, the two running backs, we didn't know who we were going to get out of the transfer portal. They showed up big time. Bucky Irving, Noah Whittington, they both played great this year. And then Christian Gonzalez, he's opting out. He's not going to be in the bowl game. He could be a first rounder, they think. So he came from Colorado. So I mean, the transfer portal, it giveth and it taketh away. I mean, it's all good. And as of right now, I mean, Oregon's already got a linebacker and a wide receiver. So it's
Trayshawn Holden. Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
So, hey, man, I think this is for a first year head coach. I think this is a successful season, especially if he caps it off with a bowl game. Do you think the Oregon Nation is feeling the same way?
I mean, I do, but I think there's a lot of unrealistic expectations in every fan base, right? And I don't know if you can cater to them. For example, I mean, I'm a blue blood program, supporter, season ticket holder. I go to the games, I go on the road, I'll go to the bowl game. I'm the demographic that they should be after. I'm the demographic they should be looking for, because that's who makes up a bulk of the audience, right? It's not the guys who, will turn on the game, and if they're winning, they'll keep watching. If they're not, they'll turn it off. I mean, I don't even know when the last time I haven't seen every single snap of every, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different kind of level. And so for us, people who are really down with the program and support the program, like you're saying, I think it is a very good year. And he's come in and established his way of doing things. Dan Lanning has come in and really been gracious, come in and really, what I like about him is he's swagged out. He got the shoes on. He's the only real coach since we've had this whole Nike connection to really embrace it. I mean, all the different coaches be wearing different sneakers and everything else. I mean, none of the other coaching staff forever had ever been into that. I mean, that's just not how they did it. So, I think there's something to be said about that. He's already got a coaching tree.
I was thinking the same thing.
He's been a coach for 1 year, bro. I mean, his coaching tree is this big. He already got one branch to a division, inter division opponent, Power 5. I mean, think about Dillingham. This guy bounces all around as an OC, this, that, and the other. And then he gets his first gig at his alma mater in a Power 5. Dude, what?
That's crazy. That's crazy, dog. That's crazy.
I mean, a lot has to go down for that to be open and even available. You know what I'm saying? So everybody making a big deal about Coach Prime, and I get it because he's a superstar. But, I tend to think the Pac-12 is doing pretty well right now, and the future looks bright out here.
So should North Carolina's offense decide to show up, how do you think y'all defense will fare against that? Because it was high powered at one point in time. Drake May was firmly in the Heisman running into the last 2 years.
He's for real. He's like Josh Allen kind of. I mean, he can do it all. He run. He's got 50 more attempts running than their leading running backs. That guy. I mean, you can hit it up on that one, right? But they've also had decimated with injuries in their running backs and everything else. They had a tough time with it, but yeah, I mean, you can run down those stats, that guy. I mean, because it is crazy. When they were humming, that offense was really, really going. But it's all predicated on the pass. So it's like, if Oregon is able to put a little pressure on, and they can put some pressure on the wide receivers. I don't know who they're gonna have because most of these guys are out, but somebody got to play. And it's kind of like I'm thinking nowadays that, these bowl games, almost like the first game for next year. It's almost like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like at this point, if you're not in the top bowls, and in the future, it's going to be even worse with the top 12. It's going to be even worse with the 12-team playoff.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's going to play in the Bahama Bowl?
Yeah, I don't think so either. Stat guy, you think North Carolina having to travel all the way across country like Oregon did initially in the first game is going to affect them against Oregon?
I don't know if it's gonna have as much impact, but that's because I think they're already done. I think their toast is already cooked. I mean, you're looking at an offense that now here's their stats, right? So 35 points a game, 155 yards on the ground, 317 through the air, and that's including being a complete washing machine the last 3 weeks of the season, including the ACC championship. I mean, putting up those kind of numbers with how they ended the year is just ridiculous, but the end of the year still happened. And so I don't know what we're going to see from North Carolina offensively come the bowl game. But what I do know is that there's no way they're stopping that Oregon offense. And that thing's probably going to get ugly out there in the beautiful San Diego.
What is the over under and the point spread on this game, Stagger?
So Oregon is favored by 15, and the over under is going to be 70.5.
I think you take the over.
You say take the over.
Take the over. Oh, easy. I think whoever is winning this game is in the 40s by far, and I could see both teams. I could easily see it. I'm not a bet guy, so yeah. I mean I'm maybe more risky. I'll take those bets because I'm not putting any money on it.
Yeah.
You should do that. Hey, bro, you should do that.
Listen, I'm gonna go with Oregon because y'all listen. I think it is something to that travel. I know these guys are gonna go. I think they're gonna go. North Carolina's gonna be looking to have a good time when they get to San Diego. I don't know how much focus. I think it is gonna be high scoring. I think it's gonna be like a 38-35, 38-30 Oregon, 38-30 Oregon.
Oh, I could see it being like 48-42.
Just scored. Stat guy, what you got on the score?
So both of y'all are wrong because neither one of y'all picked Oregon to cover, first of all. So when I was doing my prediction for this game, what it came down to is, do I think Oregon can cover the 70.5 by themselves? And unfortunately, I don't. So I'm taking the under, but Oregon's going to absolutely roll North Carolina, little old North Carolina from the ACC, who's a trash conference. I'm taking Oregon 56-10. But hey, on the bright side, North Carolina, visit the zoo while you're out there. San Diego has probably the best zoo in the entire country, so enjoy that at least.
Oh, I'll be staying right by the zoo. Yeah, we'll be hitting that. Oh, dude, Stat Guy, that is awesome. If that happens, we'll be dancing in the aisle, bro. You know how I get down, Coach.
you said you're going out for a week. Make sure you make it to the game.
I mean, no. The game's in the middle of that week. You know how I get down though, Coach. Coach and I have been live. Coach and I have been there together, eating wings, drinking beer, doing the longest Serena ain't on TV, he's good to go. So hey man, I appreciate you coming on, Ryan, giving us a little Oregon take on this bowl game. Like I said, I know these players are opting out, but hey, somebody still got to play the game, right? Most definitely, man. And good luck to your dogs, man. I think they think they're gonna do it again, man.
Hey, we're gonna try to do it, man. Ohio State, I feel like if we can beat Ohio State, we're gonna win the championship. But beating Ohio State is gonna be tough. It's
gonna be rough, and if they're healthy, they haven't really played many games this year healthy, so that could be a tough one, right? So
we was talking about that. We both were missing our key receivers, and then Travion Henderson hasn't played in like 3 games or so. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be one of the more intriguing games. I think these are the 2 most talented teams in the nation. So I think
that Ringo Harrison matchup will be something special, though, won't it?
Well, whenever Harrison's on his side, for the most part,
you're not going to look for it, but you know. There's going to be some time when the cameras are going to be clicking.
Oh yeah. That's the TV clickbait right there. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Harrison, Ringo. So, but I definitely appreciate, man.
Hey, Bennett a chance to get to New York too. That was good.
Shout out to 13, man, for at least getting invited to New York.
Remember,
that's big time.
Getting invited was a big deal.
Yeah.
So I don't think they make a big deal about it as much anymore, but.
I'm just happy he got invited. He's the first guy for a long time for Georgia to get invited, man. Hey, I got to get back on the show too, man. I've been in the comments lately, but I got to get back on that show.
Oh, dude, please. Yeah, let's chat. I would love to have you on maybe to just talk about that national championship game. Just talk about your dogs.
Bet. Let's do that. Let's link up, man.
I'll do that. Okay. Adios, bro.
All right, man. See you later.
Appreciate.
All right, man. There it is, man. My guy Ryan, Sports Chat 503, man. Y'all go ahead and check him out, man. Listen, he talks mostly Oregon, but he's a college football fan at heart, and he always keeps it real, man. But like we said, man, listen, Oregon fans, North Carolina fans, y'all get in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking on the game. I know there's a lot of opt-outs and things of that nature, but hey, they still got to play the game. Somebody still got to score some points. On to the next game, man. Listen, let's stick with that Oregon, the state of Oregon theme, and go with the Florida versus Oregon State, one of the teams that ruined Oregon's later part of the ending of the season, man. So, Stat Guy, how you feeling about this one, man?
Hey, man, this is this is going to be an interesting game. The Beavers always seem to show up in the Civil War, and they're like one of those sneaky teams that you never really think about. And then the end of the year, they're always like 8-4, 9-3. And then as far as on the other side with Florida, I'm interested to see who's going to play quarterback for them, because with AR entering the going to the draft, the guy getting in legal trouble. I mean, who knows what they're going to end up doing at the QB position for the bowl game. It's going to be nuts for them trying to figure that out.
Hey, well, let's not waste any time. Let's find out from a Florida fan if he got any inside info, who's playing quarterback and who's staying and helping this quarterback out, man. Like we talk Florida, man. I gotta bring my guy Tim from Talk and Sauce. What's going on, Tim?
What's up? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, chilling, man. Hey, it's bowl season, baby. We made it.
Yeah, it does not seem like the end of college football. Interesting.
Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you at, Tim.
Yes, sir. So if you guys have never heard of Talking Sauce, hey man, we talk college football. We get big sauce, having a drink right now, some red wine. Cheers to you guys. So we do a live podcast every week on YouTube. We talk about mainly Florida Gators, but we talk all college football. We have a live call-in portion where you guys can be a guest, be a part of the show. You guys pull up a drink, talk some football, come hang out with us.
That's right, man. You heard backstage, man. The stat guys wondering who's playing quarterback. Who is playing quarterback in this Las Vegas Bowl?
Stat guy, I got you. The quarterback is me. I'm gonna be playing. No, so Jack Miller will actually be the starting quarterback.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jack Miller.
He was. That's the one that transferred from Ohio State, right?
Yeah, transfer from Ohio State. Hadn't really seen a lot of action. I think he's threw about 14 passes for his career over at Ohio State. He did not play this season because he had injuries going on. So I like why Jalen Kitna stepped in, but he's no longer with the team, obvious reasons why. And so, yeah, Jack Miller will be starting QB. And it'll be interesting because this will be like an early audition to see who's going to be QB for next year. We know that Florida's looking into the transfer portal as well. Add some QBs in that. So, yeah, this offense is going to be very, very interesting to see because obviously Anthony Richardson will be out to prepare for the NFL draft. So with Jack Miller, you know, you can go back and watch Florida spring game. We did some critique on him as far as, breaking down the spring game. And he throws a very catchable ball. So, he's a highly touted kid. My thing, I think when we watch some of his breakdowns, is just kind of staring down the receivers. But the thing about spring games, you don't know what they're asking him to do. So that just might be, what they're asking him to do. So, yeah.
Okay. Stat guy, I know for most of these numbers you're about to give us, Anthony Richardson was at the helm. So it may look a little different, but you can at least talk about Florida's defense and Oregon State's offense. Give us those numbers.
Yeah, so you're looking at an Oregon State team that averages 32 points a game. They do it very balanced, 199 yards on the ground. They go for 200 through the air, so 399 for the game. I mean, just a truly balanced attack. Going up against the Florida defense that gives up 28 points a game. The number that was shocking to me is the 176 that y'all are giving up a game on the ground, and then 239 through the air, so not horrible. But that 176 yards a game on the ground, I couldn't believe it was that high. And going up against an offense that runs for almost 200 a game, that should definitely be a big red flag in my book.
Okay, so Tim, do y'all have any key opt-outs or transfer portal on defense?
Obviously Ventrell Miller, so he's not going to be playing in the bowl game. Gervon Dexter, who opted for the NFL draft, he will be playing in the bowl game. So it looks like as far as on defense, especially around the line, Mari Burney, Princely, Antoine Powell Jr., those are some of the guys who have generated sacks for Florida, so they will be playing. So that's not a huge deal. Obviously, Ventrell Miller is going to be huge for Florida. Florida's already continue to struggle with depth on defense, and we know we have seen all the transfer from some of these guys who are on defense. Some of these guys didn't play a big role, but with guys opting out for the NFL, then you had Brendan Cox, who was dismissed. It adds up with a team who already struggling with depth, right?
Yeah. So with that, I was saying the stat guy earlier, do you think that Florida will travel like any fans are going? I mean, it's Vegas. So even if you don't care about the bowl game, you know what I'm saying, you can go hang out in Vegas, but Oregon State doesn't have to go that far. Do you think that'll have an effect on Florida at all?
Yeah, I think that Florida fans are everywhere. So I would think that it will be probably a lot of Florida fans, and Florida fans like to travel too. So anytime, SEC football, most of our schools will travel quite well. The problem with this game, though, is not, I don't think they're going to get all the practices. So it's a quick turnaround. Florida's already in there practicing and scheming up for this game. So, can fans do this quick turnaround where they can go ahead and purchase tickets and hotels and all that stuff, kind of at the drop of a hat? That might be the only concern. But I think it's anytime you get young guys, that's where this game for me is going to be looked at. It's like you get to see, some opportunities for people who are actually going to play next year. So I think that and alone, and then also get to see Billy Napier, with this depth issue without Anthony Richardson, because, Florida had his up and downs on offense and then even defense as well. Can we get a game where offense and defense can be consistent on both sides of the ball? It'll be interesting to see with some of the younger guys. We had a couple guys who were on the all SEC freshman team with ETN and Shamar James. Both those guys will be playing. Then you bring back Montreal Johnson, the other running back. So I think it'll be interesting to see where Florida goes. I do think that they're probably going to be a ground and pound team like they have been. But, Oregon State is really good, as that guy mentioned, at stopping the run. So that will be something to, watch out for. The one thing I think too, Oregon State, maybe where Florida can maybe get some ground on them is they actually, what is it? They've only had 16 sacks this season. So bringing in Jack Miller, he's more of a pocket passing quarterback. Maybe Florida can get some ground with, being able to stay in the pocket. They do have some, young receivers. Ricky Pearsall, he also has been kind of the head of the wide receiver core. He is playing in this game too. And they got some young receivers on the field as well. So it'll be interesting to see.
Is Henderson playing in this game?
I think he is. He had an injury. I don't know if he is 100%, but I think he was practicing everything that I heard. Yeah.
I think, like you said earlier, I think we'll see a heavy dose of ETN. Man, listen, man, I don't know if I was telling a stat guy or somebody else. I'm like, ETN can get a jersey anywhere. You feel me? Like,
dude,
ETN,
that's a bad man.
that dude got big playability written all over him, just like his older brother, if not a little bit more. Like, the dude just makes plays, you know what I'm saying? And then you got the hammer in Montreal Johnson, you know what I'm saying, the hard runner. So the season's been kind of up and down. I mean, you guys started out by beating Utah, even though Utah was favored. You had Anthony Richardson throw for over 400 yards against Tennessee. I mean, I don't care if the defense is bad. I mean, that was actually a shocker to me. But then we didn't get to see his legs as much as we wanted to. So now he's gone. You actually got a pocket passer in there. What are you looking for in this bowl game? What do you want to see?
It's interesting because, like I said, I just want to see, I guess, for me, the young talent in this game. Florida is looking to be, so if they lose this game, they'll have back-to-back losing seasons since like 1970 something. So that would not be, it's obviously that last year in Billy Napier's fault, but just to kind of have that on your record that you were the one to do that. So I'm looking to see. I actually want Florida to win this game. They have a lot of young talent on this team. Yeah. The problem with Florida the whole year has been depth. So when guys go out, when you have to dismiss a guy, when, you know, some guy has a helmet come off, you have to fill in those holes. They can consistently struggle on defense, one of the worst defenses in the country, to stop the run. And we know Oregon State is a run-heavy team. That's what they're going to basically do, is just try to run the ball down your throat. So with Florida struggling in that area, you know, I'm looking to see, can Florida it's hard to teach toughness, because I think that's what some of these, you know, some of the issues are on defense. Guys, you know, guys getting in there. Give me 1 second. My dog, every time I come on your show, Coach he likes to bark. So, but yeah, they I think that with the defensive scheme, can they stop the run? It's been a consistent struggle. I don't know if you can teach that in, you know, what, 12, 15 days. Yeah. So I am looking at Florida to continue to struggle with some of the things that we have seen. I do think some of the adjustments on defense have been, you know, part of scheme as well. Florida playing off the ball a lot, and just not knowing where they're supposed to be has been a lot of the issues as well.
Yeah. Okay. Stat guy, give us the over/under on this game, man, and the point spread.
Yeah, so Oregon State is going to be favored by 10 heading into this game. And I do wonder if part of that is maybe Vegas giving them a little kickback because of how close they're playing to home, and Florida traveling out that way. And then the spread for this game is going to be 52.5 for the over/under.
52.5 and a 10-point spread. Okay, I can see it. What's your prediction, Tim?
This game right here is interesting. Man, I mean, everything is pointing towards Oregon State, because I mean, just even distance wise, they don't have a lot of people even sitting out. I think most of the couple guys who are sitting out, they're like second string guys. So they have mostly all their guys coming back. And I'm gonna get a nod to Oregon State, because defensively they are better. I think both teams, even without Anthony Richardson, the thing about it is Anthony Richardson was, you know, definitely a big play catalyst for Florida, but he didn't run a ton this year. When you look at all the numbers as far as in versus SEC quarterbacks in general. So I do think Florida having Montrell and Etienne, and then they are missing Osiris Torrance. With all that being said, I'm going to get a nod to Oregon State. I think it'll be, what'd you say? I think you said 52. So I think game will be low scoring. I'm going to give it, I haven't even thought about the prediction completely, but I'm going to go 21 Florida and 27 Oregon State.
I like that, and I think you hit on something. I mean, I know Miller's not the athlete that AR is, but like you said, he hasn't actually used his legs like that this year. So I honestly think the Florida offense, worst case scenario, is going to look the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think Miller has a better arm, even though he hasn't had many reps. So maybe that's where, you know, AR got him, you know, the experience and being under the lights, taking the fire. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think Oregon State is going to stick with the run, especially knowing that, you know, Florida struggles to stop the run, which is going to take some of the air out of the ball. I think we're looking at a 21-17 game, Oregon State. What you got, Stat Guy?
Well, first, I want to congratulate my guest for his Florida Gators being the last team to beat the hottest team in college football, the one and only South Carolina Gamecocks. So congrats to you on that, my friend. But no, I'll be honest. The more I think about this, I really wonder if the fact that there's not film out on Jack Miller and what Florida's offense can look like with him, if that could be the difference maker. Could that completely shake things up, and do we see a completely different offensive outlook from scheme-wise from Florida? I think we do. I just don't quite think it's enough because of Florida's run defense. So I'm going to take Oregon State to win this game 24-21.
Okay, I can definitely see that. So before we let you go, Tim, tell us how you feel overall about the season and Napier.
Yeah, so first year head coach in the SEC, especially. You know, I had 8-5, so you know I was a couple games off, but Some things went expected as about how I expected them to go. Some of them did not. As far as in looking at how Anthony Richardson used his legs, I was not expecting that. One second. I was not expecting that. Also, as well, I think that the defense, we're looking at the defense last year Florida put on the field was abysmal, and they continue to be abysmal. So that scheme change, we're looking, Patrick Toney coming in as defensive coordinator, maybe some of those issues from Todd Grantham regime and Dan Mullen regime would be fixed. They were not. But all in all, I think that the hardest part to this is losing to Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, FSU.
All your rivals.
Yeah, that's the hardest part to this, which really sucks. I think that when you look at in the SEC, the main thing for Billy Napier, and if you guys watch our show, you know this, talent is to me where you have to get where you're gonna make any dent in the SEC, just stack talent consistently, not just one class, consistent classes, and you can see that already he is starting to have an effect on what the Florida Gators can do in recruiting. So as long as he keeps continuing this trend of, hey, let's get us. I have a motto: 1, 2, 3 in the SEC. That's what I say. If you're not 1, 2, and 3, then SEC national championship, yeah, you can call it quits. There's maybe one outlier Auburn people like to bring up. So, but yes. So all in all, I think my grade for them. We did grades on the show, so I was like at a C minus. So it could be better. I think some of the inconsistencies in play calling, I was kind of baffled at. Even just running the ball in general, sometimes you have one game, ETN had 4 carries, which is crazy. Vanderbilt, they ran the ball a total of 21 times, which is absolutely crazy. When you're one of the best rushing teams in the country.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. Like I say, first year head coach in the SEC, coming from the the group of 5. He did go ahead and steal the quarterback from Miami that you guys thought you were going to get initially. And so he's doing some things in recruiting, man. So who knows, man? Y'all start out at that high altitude. Listen, man, y'all go out west here, and then you got to go back out west to start the season next season,
right?
At Utah. So get your frequent flyer miles together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot of frequent flyer miles, which will be awesome. I do want to say one more thing before I go. I think to Billy Napier, what I am excited about to see where these 2 draft picks, because there's 2 guys who I think have a possibility to be first, second round, which is Anthony Richardson and Osiris Torrance. So I think in recruiting that matters. Florida hasn't had a guy, offensive lineman especially, go top in a while. So I think with Billy Napier, it's all about momentum and setting the tone, because the name list in the SEC is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And his name, he has to differentiate himself from some of those top guys who already have the name. The way to do that is go get some talent, show these guys you for real, and then they gonna know the deal.
Hey, there it is, man. Tim, tell them where they can find you before you get up out of here, man.
Yes, sir. You can find us on all social media platforms. You can see it right here under my name, Talking Sauce. We are on Google Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. We do a live channel. Come over and join us for a drink. Like I said, cheers. Appreciate you guys. We get big sauce, Coach I. Thank you, sir. It's nice to meet you, that guy.
We appreciate you being on the show, man, and look forward to getting sauce with you in the future. All right, y'all go check him out, man. All right, we'll holler at you later, Tim.
All right, always welcome, Coach.
All right, listen, man, there it is. Florida and Oregon State fans, man, y'all get in the comments. Let us know what y'all think. What the game's going to be like. What's your overall thoughts, Jeff?
Hey, man, it's going to be a good game. We're still doing that Florida Oregon State, man. That thing's going to be good. It's going to be barn burner. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it should be a fun one to watch. See what Florida can do.
I think so too. Like you said, they don't know what Miller's bringing to the table. That could be an advantage for Florida, man. But hey, like we said, man, this is the bowl preview show, man. On to the next bowl, man. We're gonna stay. Listen, man, we're gonna be talking about another Florida team. We're talking about Florida State and Oklahoma. And when we talk Oklahoma, y'all know I got to bring my guy in. That's right. It's On Air with Mike. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man. Hey, we in here, dog. How you feeling tonight?
Hey, it's I'm doing well. My vacation's about to kick in here in a few days, and the holidays are showing up, so I can't complain.
Hey, man, listen, it's like that, man. We on our bowl preview shows today, man. We know everybody's got players opting out left and right, but it is what it is. You guys are going down, and you guys are taking on the Florida State Seminoles in the Cheez-It Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
how you
sir.
feeling? What's your initial feelings about going to the Cheez-It Bowl?
It was kind of expected. I think the Cheez-It Bowl and I think the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, I think, was the top two when it came to Oklahoma's destination. I think this is probably one of the better ones. Hopefully, while our time down in Orlando here in the next, I think, 2 or 3 weeks from now, hopefully Brent Venables hopefully he can recruit some players down there while he's at least get some, kind of get something out of it. But it's a tough matchup. I think this one's going to be interesting. It unfortunately makes bowl games make it for a difficult one to really predict. But Florida State's a really, really good team, and coming into the game 13th in the country, this should be a doozy, and hopefully, neither team loses too many players headed into the bowl game.
Yeah, before we jump deep into this, man, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you at, Mike.
On Air with Mike, my personal one, of course, the Air Raid Attack podcast. The new handle is Air Raid Podcast. Nothing really different except for we eliminated the underscore, but Air Raid Podcast. Download us on all major podcast platforms. New episodes every Thursday morning.
That's right, man. And you think you hit on something, man. Florida State probably was one of the top 5 hottest teams. Yep. South Carolina did some big things. I know Stat Guy's happy about that, taking down 2 top 10 teams. But Florida State was hot. They lost 3 games straight, but then it's like they just reeled off a whole bunch of games in a row.
Yep.
Just to touch on a couple of the opt-outs, I'm going to tell you, I was blown away to see Theo Weiss enter the portal. And now he's in Missouri. Like, Missouri, for one, I was shocked that he got in the portal. Yep. For 2, I'm mad that we didn't offer him because, listen, I like Ra Thomas from Mississippi State, and we'll see if we get him. But this Theo Weiss we talking about here, I'm like, what happened here?
Yeah, Theo opted out last year and, of course, decided to come back for this year. But, that's the biggest question, Coach, is Brent still trying to eliminate the bad grass, if you will, in Norman? We don't really know, but this is a big-time miss that I think later on down the road could hurt us, but we'll see. Theo going from Missouri is interesting. Of course, now I don't know if you saw the report or not, Oklahoma and Texas potentially entering the SEC in 24 is what it looks like now instead of 2025. So maybe they had something to do with it. I'm not for sure. Theo's he should be almost, well, Lord, I thought he'd be out by now eligibility-wise. But anyway, Theo's out. The biggest, I think in my personal opinion, the one lost will be Nick Evers. I know he was on the 3rd string, but a highly talented quarterback out of last year's high school recruit, decided to go into the transfer portal as well. And I was disappointed on that one. But we'll see. Headed into the bowl game, we're, 17 days away. So hopefully we don't lose too many. I would hate to know that we can't come to Florida and at least put up some fight against Florida State.
That's right. Stat Guy, how you feeling about this game, man?
Man, this is going to be a fun game. On paper, it does kind of look a little bit like a mismatch, even more so with Florida State staying at home. But honestly, I think this could be a good game. And, we were talking transfer portal. Obviously, transfers coming in don't affect you for the bowl game. But, hey, congrats to Oklahoma. They went out, got them a big tight end that they were all over when he was coming out of high school. They brought him home, Austin Stogner, coming back to Norman. So kudos to that. I thought he was going to be done. He's been at school, it feels like 19 years, but hey, you got your big body tight end, I guess. I don't know.
Stat guy, give us the numbers for that Florida State offense, because it's pretty much intact going into the bowl game, and the Oklahoma defense on the other side.
Yeah, you talk about Jordan Travis, man, and he's going to be a definite hot commodity coming into next year if he chooses to stay. But you're looking at an offense from Florida State, 36 points a game, 217 on the ground, and they got a running back room as well, and then 258 through the air. I mean, that offense is just rolling right now, and that's including that little 3-game stretch they went through where offensively they kind of went anemic, and they're still putting up those numbers for the season. On the other side of the ball, you're looking at Oklahoma. They do give up 30 points a game, 189 yards through the air, or on the ground, 189 yards on the ground, 261 through the air. That 189 on the ground versus a team that likes to run for over 200 a game, scary.
Yeah. So how you feeling going into the game? What do you want to see from Oklahoma, Mike?
Honestly, Coach, what I want to see out of Oklahoma is really, what give us something positive heading into 23. I think at this point, 6-6. Obviously, it's a season. Really, nobody anticipated us being, a lot of preview magazines and a lot of people had us playing for Big 12 championship. But, something that we're not used to at 6-6. My opinion, I just want to see a good game, and more importantly, I want to see what we have headed into 23 and see who still wants to be a Sooner and who doesn't, and hopefully we can build on a good bowl win and headed into the recruiting season, and hopefully come April get some good spring ball and hopefully make some noise next year in 23.
Yeah, I think you were more realistic than a lot of the Oklahoma fans when we did the Oklahoma season preview, back in the summer. I don't think they actually like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I get it, Brent Venables, but like Brent Venables came in and, like you say, he's cleaning house pretty much, so he can get his type of guys in. Give us the over, under, and the point spread on the game, Stat Guy.
Florida State is going to be favored by 7.5 in this game, and the over, under is going to be 66.
God, a freaking barn burner. So I am gonna go with Florida State in this game. They are playing in in their home state, and their offense is hotter than the Oklahoma defense. But I'll be honest, I thought the point spread would have been a little bit more, just because of how hot they have been playing. You know what I'm saying? And then now you guys don't have Theo Weiss. Oh man. I'm going to go Florida State. I'm going to go Florida State 31-17. How about that? What you got, Mike?
Hey, I think I like that one. No, I think as much as I would hope, from a bias standpoint, I would love to see Oklahoma beat Florida State. Realistically, I don't see that happening. I don't think we got enough offensive power to keep up with Florida State. Have this, if in case this does go into a shootout. I think the defense struggles at times is still a concern. Hopefully Dylan Gabriel can show us something that he still should be QB1 come next year. I don't think he is. I don't think he should be, but that's a whole different topic for a whole other day. I think Florida State comes in, and I really hope this is a closer game than I think it's going to be. I think Florida State comes in 42-17 over Oklahoma.
There it is. That guy, finish us up with your prediction, man.
Yeah, it's almost like the spread and the over-under just don't really go hand in hand, right? It's kind of weird. But I'm kind of in the same window as you, Coach. I'm going to take Florida State 38-20. They're going to cover. They're not going to go over it's going to be the under, but 38-20 for Florida State. I just think that run game is going to be too much for Oklahoma's defense. And maybe Oklahoma can turn that into sustained drives and not give up the home run, and maybe that'll chew some clock and help them keep it a little bit closer. But yeah, I just don't see this as a good matchup for Oklahoma.
There it is, Oklahoma and Florida State fans. Y'all get in the comments, man. Let us know what y'all think the score is going to be, and if you're satisfied with your respective coaches' performance this year. And before we let Mike go ahead and tell them where they can find you at again, Mike.
Personal Twitter on air with Mike and Mike KE, very active on there. Chat it up with me. Even if you're not an OU fan, let's chat it up. And then podcast, Air Raid podcast as well. And hey, your very own Coach I and the Sack Guy will be on after the new year. We're taking a break off, and hey, that's where we're at. But that's where you can find me, and hopefully OU comes out on top.
That's right, man. Y'all go out there and check him out, man. And he's a Denver Bronco fan too, by the way. So
yeah, for everyone that this football season's been rough. 3-10 and 6-6. This, either end or this is not what I anticipated.
You deserve a couple of weeks off. All right, Mike, we're gonna let you get up out of here, man.
Hey, we're about to have a few months off here in a bit, so hey, we gotta regroup.
That's right, man. All right, man. I'll holler at you later, Mike.
Take care, guys.
There it is, man. We got the Florida State, Oklahoma. Oklahoma has not looked like everybody thought they were, except for me, because I did not think they were gonna go 9-3. But hey, man, y'all know what we're doing today. It's the bowl preview show, man, and we're on to the next bowl. This is the granddaddy of them all. It's the Rose Bowl, man. And I think this is what we talked about at the beginning of the show. One of the better matchups in bowl season, regardless of who's opting out, who's not opting out. We got Utah versus Penn State. That's right, Utah versus Penn State, and we got a special guest to come on and talk about the Rose Bowl, man. We got a guy from Sidelines Penn State from the Sidelines Sports Network. What's going on, man?
How you guys doing?
Hey, man, we're good, man. I'm glad you came on to join us to talk a little Rose Bowl action.
Oh, of course. You tell me when and where, I'll show up. I'll be happy to talk about and rep the state.
That's right, man. How you feeling about the season this year? Overall.
I think it might be the sneakiest 10-2 season in the history of 10-2 seasons because the only two teams we lost to are now playoff teams.
Facts.
But you are judged on who you lose to, and those two teams are why James Franklin and their crew, and they change out coordinators, and we get all this talent. We should be able to knock off one of those two, if not both. Yeah. So although we did lose those two, we did take care of business on the other 10, but the whole James Franklin grade to elite, you get to elite, you beat Ohio State, you beat Michigan.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you, I thought you guys would split those games this year. I really did.
Me too.
I honestly thought you guys would lose to Ohio State, but play them good because I thought that was going to be the whiteout. I'm mad it wasn't a night game. Listen, we're in the Southeast, and we get it, Fox. The big game is the big noon game. But, hey, us in the Southeast, we like night games. So I think that might have helped a little bit. But I definitely thought you guys would beat Michigan. That was a little bit of a shocker for me there.
The funny thing is Michigan's probably the better team.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing that no one have thought of because you come in with C.J. Stroud, Trevion Henderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., and that amazing offense and just a loaded defense with their new defensive coach. And you would probably think it would be flipped, but Michigan whooped them. They beat them down. They beat them down.
I know, and I think it took us all by surprise. I think me and Stack might have even been together that weekend, and we was watching that game, and I was like, what is really going on? It starts to make you wonder, is James Franklin kind of the Mark Richt of Penn State? Like, he can get you 10. He can definitely get you 10 wins, but can he get you over the hump?
I think Mark Richt is nicer.
Well, yeah. What's funny is
I've met Mark Richt a couple times. I've met Coach Frank a couple times, but Mark Richt is just the nicest guy in the world. But I agree with you with that kind of level.
And I think
how many times you have to get over the hump.
I think Michigan is as we saw on the field, the better team. But I think the styles makes fights, and you guys can play a physical brand of football, which brings us to this game. Utah likes to play a physical brand of football. You know what I'm saying? And you guys like to play a physical brand of football. Two good quarterbacks. I mean, you got running game, you got the trenches. So how you feeling going into this Rose Bowl?
What's great is we always have to talk about these opt-outs. Now, outside of Utah doing Tavion Thomas, the running back, and then they have their tight end, probably their best player on their team, Dalton Kincaid. He's also out. We have Joey Porter Jr. out.
Ooh, I did not know
Those
that.
are the only three.
Okay.
So our best defensive back, their best offensive player, and their starting running back.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's full strength on strength. Utah is known for hard-nosed defense and kind of grinded out wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they almost took it over to Florida earlier in the year. Didn't work out for their favor. What's actually kind of turned out is Utah's defense actually stops the run better than their pass, and our defense stops the pass better than the run, and those are our strengths. Utah's strength is their passing offense, and that's what we can stop. And our strength is our running offense, and that's what they can stop. So I'm expecting a lower scoring, just defensive minded, put your mouthpiece in, strap up those straps on your helmet, and let's go.
That sounds like an old school Rose Bowl game. Stat guy,
Mm-hmm.
give us those stats on the Penn State offense and the Utah defense and vice versa.
Yeah, man. And so when I was doing my homework on this, man, you talk about mirror images of each other. So first going up with Penn State's offense against Utah's defense. Penn State scores 35 points a game. They rush for 182. They throw for 250. Utah's defense, they give up 20 points a game, 107 on the ground, 218 through the air. Now when you reverse the script, Utah's offense, they score 40 points a game. They rush for 200. They throw for 252. But then Penn State's defense, they give up 18 points a game, only 105 yards on the ground, and then only 212 through the air. I mean, you're talking about two teams offensively and defensively that are mirror images of each other, and they want to beat you up on defense and grind you out on offense. And that's why this is probably the game I'm looking most forward to out of the entire bowl season.
I'm glad this game is actually, I want to say January the 2nd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm glad
January 1st is NFL football.
Yeah, and it's like almost this is the game that's bringing the bowl season to a close. I feel like sometimes we have games after the playoff that don't really intrigue us, but I'm going to be tuned in from start to finish here because I do think both of these teams are really good, and both of the coaches. I mean, I like James Franklin. We don't know if he can get over the hump. Kyle Whittingham can win the Pac-12, but can he get to the playoffs? Like this was the year that everybody thought. Mm-hmm. I know Keithy went down early. Their other tight end. Now Kincaid has foregoed the bowl game, but they still got another tight end, number 87, who actually gave USC many problems. So it's going to be an interesting game. What do you want to see from the Nittany Lions in this game?
What I want them to do is something that they've had trouble doing for most of the season is establish the run. Because if Parker Washington's out, that's the fourth one. So Parker Washington and JPJ, they're the two ones out for Penn State. I want them to just run Nick Singleton and Katron Allen down their throats. Because if you start doing that, then you can establish the play action because we have a great tight end room. And we still have the ability to stretch the field with Mitchell Tinsley and different people on our offense. But really, I think it's more going to come down to the defense because the entire defensive line for this entire year, the worry about was depth. Because, yes, we have 4 great starters or 5 great starters, but what does that kind of show into it? Because Utah is a team, the third and fourth corner, this is going to be a slobber knocker. They're going to be kicking the hell out of each other. So I want to see what that depth kind of turns into and speed at linebacker because defensive back, I'm not worried about. We have defensive backs in our team right now. 3 or 4 of them are probably going to play in the NFL one day. But what I want them to do is not rely heavily on Sean Clifford whatsoever, even though this is his swan song, and it's probably also Cam Rising's swan song, but for a completely different reason. One's going to the NFL and one's going to be a State Farm agent. That's it. That's just a fact. I'm pretty sure that Sean Clifford already works for like Merrill Lynch. Like he's got an LLC. That man is bona fide right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 25, turning 26.
Listen, I'm a Georgia fan, so of course I've heard that all because Stetson Bennett is older. You got Hendon Hooker, who's in that. He's only 4 weeks younger than Stetson Bennett. And here we go, Clifford. That COVID year allowed a lot of people. There's a lot of other guys. Those are just the guys that take the snap and they're the trigger man. So, they get put front and center. It does seem like Sean Clifford, just like Stetson Bennett and Hendon Hooker, have been in college.
Stetson Bennett is going to have the best Kia dealership in like Blackshear, Georgia, in the history of Kia dealerships. I tell you, man, the Athens and surrounding area, he is going to sell more Kia Sorrentos than anyone in the history of the world.
Listen, man, Stetson Bennett, whether we win the championship or not, I don't think he has to work another day. He's a legend in the Bulldog Nation, and if he hangs around Athens, he probably won't ever pay for anything ever again. Yeah. So, all right, Stat Guy, give us the over-under on this game, man, and the point spread.
Yeah, so the over-under is going to be 52, which I do believe is a little high. But the spread is right on time with Utah favored by 3, and that's only because they're the Pac-12 team playing in the Rose Bowl.
Thanks. So, all right, give us your prediction and what you think the key to the game will be.
I will definitely hit the under because there's no way we're hitting that thing. There's just no way. We just talked about how good our defenses are and how good we match up against the other team's offense. Yeah. And although I love Cam Rising and I think whatever NFL team drafts him is going to get a good one, I see this as a 24-21 battle. Now, I could be a little homer and say Penn State wins that game, but I would not be shocked if Utah wins this one either. So the 2.5, 3 points, I think it's right on the money. So just because of how the defense plays and the offensive strengths, take Penn State with the points, but don't do it confidently. If you're in a confidence pool with the other 40 bowls, it should be like 2-4. It should be right above like who wins like the playoff, the ultimate playoff between Georgia and Michigan.
All right, Stat Guy, tell us what you think, man.
Yeah, man, look, so I kind of went back and forth on this. It's definitely going to be low scoring. But what it came down to is there's only 2 reasons you go to school for 7 years. One's to get your doctorate degree. The other's to win the Rose Bowl. So I'm taking Penn State to win this thing in the battle of field goal kickers 20-18 somehow. Who knows how it gets to 20-18, but I'm taking them to win 20-18. And Clifford can stay up there. And he can stay around Penn State and never have to buy anything for the rest of his life, and just sell auto insurance or whatever he's going to be selling up that way.
Listen, man, I'm like y'all, man. Like, I think the point spread is right on 3, like I say, because they're the Pac-12 team. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling either way. I can see it working out both ways. I know Kincaid's not playing, but they got, the other tight end that was pretty good. Thompson's not playing at running back, but they had a true freshman that like literally balled out on USC. But Penn State can play good defense. You know what I'm saying? And then Utah, listen, recent history hasn't had good, hasn't fared well against the Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? But they put up a good fight. I see this game. Listen, man, this might be one of them old school, like I said, Rose Bowls, and we might not get a touchdown. It might be 15-12, 5 field goals to 4.
I totally agree with you.
I can see it. You know what I'm saying? It's like maybe they come out and surprise all 3 of us. And it's like, 30 plus to 30 plus, but I think this is going to be like I say, 17-10. I'm going 17-12 Penn State. I think that's what I'm going to do. 17-12 Penn State.
It's also going to look beautiful, that flyover, because we have the red with Utah and the blue in Penn State.
I was thinking the same thing.
White. It's very patriotic. It's the last Rose Bowl, because next year's Rose Bowl is actually a playoff semifinal. And then 2 years from now, it's the 12-team playoff. So this is the last true Rose Bowl. So I'm glad we get a beautiful, just a color scheme. Also, just think of those awesome Utah uniforms, the red and white versus the blue and white.
Yep.
I'm just, get your popcorn ready. Pop open some champagne because it's going to be a Monday, because why the heck not? And let's just see this, 20-19 battle.
Slobber knocker fest. So before we let you go, man, tell the people where they can find you, man.
Guys, you can find me on Twitter on Sidelines Penn State, SSN _Penn State. But always a pleasure for me to be on this. If you guys are awesome, so thank you so much for the time. I hope you have a great rest of your holidays, and let's go Penn State. We are.
There it is, man. Utah fans, Penn State fans, get in the comments. Let us know what y'all think the score is going to be. Y'all go check them out. Sidelines, Penn State, man. There it is. We'll see you later.
See you, sir.
All right, man. On to the next bowl game. That's it, man. We about to wrap this thing up. And because we live here in the Southeast, in the state of South Carolina, and the Stat Guy, this was an homage to you, Stat Guy. We saved the South Carolina teams for last. That's right. And we'll start with the team that you recently got a victory over. And it's going to be the Orange Bowl with Clemson and Tennessee. And who else to bring on? My guy, Gray Little, who hasn't been on the show all season, but now he is. What's going on, Gray Little?
What's up? What's going on, people?
Hey.
Space, I can't believe
you hear me? All of a sudden you faded away.
Yeah. I had to let Stat Guy. I had to unmute Stat
Just
Guy.
like a South Carolina person. Just started talking and now I can't hear him.
I'm surprised you even came on. I can hide somewhere.
Can you hear us? He's got to put some more quarters in. We'll put him backstage until he gets it together. Maybe he doesn't want to face the views and Stat Guy's ready to give it to him. I don't know. Let's can you hear us, Greg? Give us a thumbs up. Can you hear us? No? Okay, we'll keep him backstage. So give us your initial thoughts on this Orange Bowl, Stat Guy, while Greg gets the technical difficulties together.
Yeah, man. Look, this is a bowl game that memes are made of. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, man, the memes are just rolling in on this game. The Shane Beamer Bowl, that should have been in the playoffs bowl. Apparently, Shane Beamer's going to leave our bowl game to go deliver a bunch of sour oranges to whoever wins. I mean, the memes just write themselves. But all in all, man, you're talking about two great offenses and two defenses that struggle in the secondary, and there should be fireworks aplenty had down there.
That's right, man. I think, I think both of these defenses have shown a propensity to get beat deep. I think Clemson, if I had to pick a front seven, I'm going to go Clemson's front seven, even though Tennessee has a lot of sacks on the year. So I don't know if what's going to go on here. Clemson has had about 9 guys in the portal, not any starters, but I think about 2 or 3 contributors, I'd say. Tennessee will be playing, of course, without Hendon Hooker. So this should be an interesting game. You said earlier when we were off camera, both of these teams trying to wear orange. Is that correct?
So the last I heard is that they're both wearing their shade of orange, and then they'll have on different color helmets. Man, this thing could be wild. Like, are we going to see something crazy where somebody laterals it to who they think's their own player and it goes the other way, or do they don't see the linebacker, they think the linebacker's their tight end coming across the middle and they throw a pick on a comeback route or something? I mean, I'm expecting something nuts. Maybe 2 offensive linemen light each other up, who knows? Or maybe a defensive end tackles a linebacker. I mean, just let all the madness happen.
As you can see from the banner, if they both wear orange, it's not, listen, I know in real life Tennessee's got a little bit more of a yellowish orange, but that's not going to be good. I don't know. Somebody's going to tackle the wrong person or get blocked into the wrong person. Gray, you ready back there? Can you hear us yet? All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We got you in here, dog.
As soon as the South Carolina fans started talking, I just dropped off, That's just the football gods working.
No, I mean, hey, just like your football team, y'all went running for the locker room. Thought y'all stormed the field after everything. All I saw was going in the back, baby.
365 days is what I'm going to give you. And that's it, because you'll never win again.
One of them, Gray. I'm going to enjoy everything.
That's right.
And I'm giving it to you. I can't say anything to you. I'm going to give it to you all day.
So how you feeling going into the Orange Bowl, Gray?
It's a tricky game, and it's a lot of variables.
Facts.
To it, I don't know who's going to actually play. If I was Jalen Hyatt, I wouldn't play because he has nothing to prove in this game.
Nope.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's no sense of him playing. Both quarterbacks are pretty much green. I mean, they have quarterback nod I give to Tennessee because their guy is actually experienced. He just got benched because he got hurt. He lost his job while he was injured. So there's where I give him the nod. Their running back stable. You look at it against Vanderbilt, they look like the freaking 09. I don't know. They look like the best team ever. They look like Alabama when Najee and everybody else was there. Yeah. But if you think about it, they were not a factor in any of the games that meant anything. They weren't even a factor against South Carolina. No offense to South Carolina, not taking a shot. You guys played great that game. But what I'm saying is you have to think about where is the matchup going to be won.
That's what I want. I want to know if your front seven is everybody in the front seven playing.
Exactly. They haven't announced that yet. So I was looking for it today, and I didn't see anybody who had opted out. I see a whole bunch of trolls trying to convince Jalen Hyatt to opt out, but I couldn't really find where we had anybody that opted out of the bowl game as of yet. And that's tricky because, if our defense, somebody opts out on our defensive line, that's going to hurt us a lot. Offensive, we don't have any senior class guys that really have the ability to opt out. So
I think defensively, if anybody's opting out, is Miles Murphy. I think he's a first rounder. Tyler Davis, I know, is a senior, but I think he needs some more film. Just to be honest, maybe a linebacker or so, but I think they'll come back. You guys normally don't. They either transfer or they just play. You know what I'm saying? They're not opting out and then coming back next year. You know what I'm saying? I think they're just. I think that's what they're doing. Tennessee, like you say, they're playing Joe Milton, but he had some experience before he got hurt. I don't think he's Hendon Hooker with the pass, but I think he's sufficient. So we'll see about that. Now, that guy was saying both teams are wearing orange. Is that true?
I did hear that. I don't believe it to be true, but I did hear that. I think we're going to be in purple. God, I hope we're going to be in purple because it's going to look like an absolute mess if both teams are in orange.
At least purple pants, at least.
Purple pants or something. Yeah, because referees, it's going to be, somebody's going to get called for holding. They're not even going to be in the play. It's going to be terrible if both teams are wearing orange. And then it's just going to look bad. It's just aesthetics on the screen. It's just going to look terrible.
Yeah, so since let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the way. How you feeling about this DJ situation?
How am I feeling about it? I mean, how long did it take to happen? You know me. I mean, look. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to say this, and I'm being honest. DJ played to his ability. But his ability is Willie Cornish, is Charlie Whitehurst, is what's his name? We just was talking about him tonight. The other kid that played quarterback for us. I hate to lose names like that, but I was just thinking. But my thing is, you can't go to a Deshaun and to a Trevor Lawrence level quarterback, and then bench Kelly Bryant because you say he doesn't have the ability, but then turn around and bring the same abilities of Kelly Bryant, less because he can't even run as fast as Kelly Bryant, back into the fold and tell me this is our number one guy who's going to take over for Trevor. So I've been waiting him out like a bad cold. I've been just waiting silently. I've been trying to stay positive, but he is just not a Power 5 college football player aspiring quarterback. He had one good game against Notre Dame last year because Notre Dame had no film on him.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the reason why he lasted longer than Kelly Bryant was because he didn't have Trevor Lawrence. I know some of the other Clemson fans want to think Cade, was that guy because he was a 5-star and all, but we all seen it with Trevor. It was very noticeable from day one or in high school if you watched him. So I think he had a little bit more leeway. And apparently there's something that Cade wasn't doing in practice, And listen, not to defend DJ, but the outside weapons hasn't been what they normally are.
Oh no. Yeah, he got a raw deal there. He got a raw deal, absolutely. I mean, when your best receiver is your high school teammate who got the tag-along scholarship, there is a problem. I got to call it like
he got the twofer.
He got the twofer. hey, if I come, if you can get my boy in there, and he turned out to be an all right receiver, but he's not taking the top off of anything. Bo Collins catch a couple of passes up on. He's turned out to be a good receiver. I'm not going to take anything from him as a person, but he was not that guy coming in that everybody was worried about. Everybody had ran the huddle to watch his film or Twitter to see his film. He was just that guy. EJ Williams posed. So he really didn't have anybody. So
yeah, Antonio Williams kind of came on. Stat guy, give us some of those numbers, man, for that Clemson offense and that Tennessee defense.
Yes, you're looking at Clemson offense. They averaged 34 points a game, and that's including the fact that they were only able to muster 30 against South Carolina. So good for them for still being able to average 34. But they rushed for 179 yards a game. They throw for 225, even with DJ having the struggles he had. 400 plus yards a game, not bad. But when you talk about this Tennessee defense, you're looking at a defense that gives up 23 points, and that number's a lot higher thanks to South Carolina hanging a 63 spot on them, knocking them out of playoff contention. But that Tennessee defense run. They only give up 111 yards on the ground, but they are suspect in the secondary, giving up almost 300 yards a game through the year.
Listen, with that saying, Cade might have a coming out party, against that secondary.
I'm hoping so. I mean, to me, it seems like he's more focused. I know we gave him, they put him in the game in the Notre Dame game, but it's like you put somebody in. We've coached. It's like putting somebody in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. You get blown out by 20. They're not giving you their best effort. Yeah. And he didn't give us his best effort in the Notre Dame game after he sat on the bench forever. But hopefully he's got his mojo now because he kind of, he stepped out in the North Carolina game. Everybody surrounded him with positivity, and he seemed to be playing well. So hopefully these 30 days going to work in our favor.
I think that's what he has going for him is that whether they were still – I think they're all still friends, but as far as the gridiron is concerned, I think DJ lost the locker room. I think the guy I think he kind of – last year I think he kind of felt like, they left him, but then this year they felt like he left them. So I think it was like a football thing where they was like, hey, man, you my dog, but it's time to sit down, bro. That type of thing. So not everybody was playing. I ain't gonna say they was throwing games or nothing. I'm just saying they wasn't giving their all. But then Cade comes in. Cade energizes the locker room. Some of those guys, they like, let's go. We got some new, fresh energy in here, and we can do something.
Yeah, well, you can only go with so many 3 and outs before the DJ are gonna start acting like kids. They are kids. So eventually they're going to be on the sideline. They're going to be like, this dude can't keep us off the field for 5 minutes. So they're going to start – rumbling's going to start, man. I don't care what anybody say. You're going to start talking. They may not have turned on him as a Clemson brother, but as a Clemson football player, they wanted to see him on that bench because they were too happy. They were too happy in that North Carolina game. Defensively, we picked up pace. Offense, we started running things that we haven't even pages of the playbook we hadn't even thought about turning. So – I don't know. I just think this is this coming out party. This is this chance to actually beat a SEC team, a real SEC team, versus some fly-by-night team that got put together and won a game. I don't want to talk about that, but you know what I mean. Tennessee is the actual real SEC team, so we're going to see how it goes.
And so just so you know what y'all are up against, this is a Tennessee team that averages 47 points a game. They average over 200 yards a game on the ground and over 330 through the air. This is a prolific offense, even with Joe Milton at the helm, because my man has a cannon, and he will pick apart your secondary if y'all don't get pressure on him. And that's what they use their ground game for. They use their passing game time.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Can you guys – everybody look at the passing game, but can you guys stop the run? Like, what I'm saying? Joe Milton is I think he's a better athlete than Hendon Hooker, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do too.
So your front seven is going to they're going to have to work out there. And I'm going to be honest, man, I know he's had a lot going on this year, but Brian Brzee, he hasn't lived up to the billing. He had a good freshman year. He was hurt last year. He's hurt a little bit this year. We all know what went on with his sister, rest in peace. But I personally think he should have took the year off after that. I mean, I probably would have. I commend the guy for sticking to it, but he hasn't been that same, ferociousness that we saw his freshman year, and I think y'all gonna need some of that against that offense because they line up fast.
Absolutely.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah. And I don't know if I assume they're preparing themselves for it, but I don't know if our defense is gonna be ready for that. At least the first 2 drives, I think we're gonna really fall behind. We're gonna have to rely on a mistake to be made to get a stop there. Because I don't think we're going to be able to rush him the way we think we're going to be able to rush him. I don't think Milton's going to sit back there and let you beat on him either. He's going to take off. And if he doesn't take off, he's going to hand it to somebody that's going to actually move the ball. I mean, I have no doubt that this is going to be a just straight out, shoot him out, last man with the ball scores, wins this game type thing. I don't think that we're going to stop him because our secondary can cover, but our secondary can't tackle. So if those tailbacks get out onto the next level, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's
so, Stat Guy, speaking of that, man, give us the over/under and the spread on this game.
Yeah. So the over/under is going to be 64 points, and somehow those weirdos out in Vegas chose the wrong color, orange, and has Clemson favored by 6.5. Are you really expecting us not to win this game? Oh, you'll find out in a second. I'm picking. Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna start this thing out, man. 64 and a half for the spread. I think that's about right, man. I see both of these teams possibly getting up above 28 points, possibly like a 34-30 type game. I think, listen, man, it's always a culture shock when somebody come out there and going 100 miles an hour. But like I said, I don't think Joe Milton is Hendon Hooker with this offense. I think he may grow into that, but I don't think he is that right now. There's going to be some points scored. Wiggins has played better as of late, but we saw him against Wake Forest, and it was not a pretty sight. It's going to be interesting. Like the in-game adjustment is where I think who can make the best in-game adjustment. Tennessee just lost their offensive coordinator, so we'll see how that affects things. Is it Heupel or was it the other guy? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going with a high-scoring game. Who's got the most to prove is what's going to come down to. Who's got the most to prove? I think you guys already got that 10 wins. If y'all didn't have 10 wins, I think that might – Tennessee has 9 wins, so they might have a little bit more to prove. It's going to be 34-31. I don't know which orange I'm picking yet, but it's going to be 34-31.
That's close to the score that I had, about the same, about 34-31. Maybe, I don't know where I'm going. I just hadn't said where I was going. I'm a realist. Yeah. I am the average Clemson fan. I'm not a nut job like I'll run around here between Garnet and Black. I know when we're up against it.
I think Clemson, if I got to go with a staff, I'm going to have to go with Dabo overall. I'm not too fond of your OC, but I'm going to go with Dabo because he's been there. Not necessarily just this type of game, but he's been to the Orange Bowl when it is a playoff game. So, and he's been to plenty of New Year's Six Bowls. So I'm going with Dabo 34-31. What you going with, Gray?
Here's how I'm looking at this. Breaking it down from the top. Head coach, I go Dabo. OCDCs, it's a toss-up because our guys have no confidence in themselves. They started getting more confident here, especially after DJ decided to leave, because I think Brandon Streeter felt an emotional attachment to DJ, and I felt like he kind of kept giving him one more chance. He doesn't have to worry about that now. He can open up the playbook, so that's going to help us. It's going to help us with our receivers as well. Now, Jalen Hyatt doesn't play. I take off 12 of those points for Tennessee. That's 2 touchdowns right there off the board if he's not playing. Their tailback stable, good, great, nah, not great, just good, and they can be stopped. So real quick going through it, our tailback situation after losing Kobe Pace to the actual transfer portal makes it better for us because now Ship can run the ball and Maffa is going to run the ball. They're going to have to use Maffa like they need to use Maffa. Antonio Williams has a good game. He is basically Jalen Hyatt 2 years removed. He can take the top off too if you allow him to get loose. and we should be fine. And God has got a lot to prove, and now he's got somebody that can actually put that ball on the line to him. So we're going to see if that works in our favor as well. So I'm going with my Tigers. There's no doubt about that. I'm definitely going with my Tigers. But I see the score being close to what you were saying, but I say 31-24.
31-24 Tigers. What you got on this stat, guy?
Hey, man, look. I'm taking the over. I also have one team scoring 24 points, but it's going to be them Tigers. And unfortunately, it's going to be a long day because, look, the film's going to be out. Cade's not that guy either. I called it 2 years ago that y'all's fall from the mountaintop was coming, and this is about to be just an extra boost in the honey that y'all need to start rolling down that hill because y'all about to get routed in the Orange Bowl, just like what happened against West Virginia. Somebody down the Give me Tennessee 45, Clemson 24. And in case you were wondering, the last time I picked against either one of these teams, I was correct with my Gamecocks. So get ready, get your popcorn.
That's a big stretch. You picked your Gamecocks to win. You picked your Gamecocks to win against Georgia. Stop.
Listen, what I see is the only reason why I say Clemson's gonna win is because anytime Tennessee has played a team with a formidable or forceful front four, front seven, that team stays in the game. Pitt had Tennessee beat. Let's just be honest. Alabama's offense was able to go point for point too, but then they played Georgia, and Georgia did that same thing up front. I'm not saying that Clemson is Georgia's front. I'm just saying they'll be able to stalwart that point of attack or get some pressure. And the thing about their offense is, now I haven't watched a lot of Joe Milton, but Henry Hooker didn't take any steps back. He was in the shotgun, he just catch it and throw it. So if that's how Joe Milton plays, that's not great. You know what I'm saying? That because if you're getting pressure up the middle, that pressure is coming right into your face, and I do believe the Tigers will be able to generate some pressure. So that's how I see it. You know what I mean? So
Joe Milton's closer to a DJ with a little bit more athleticism. So I don't see him. He's throwing the guy when he's open. He's not throwing him open. He's throwing him when he absolutely is wide open. It's not going to be that easy now. Our linebackers are no slouches. I'm just telling you. Don't fool yourself. We get it in when it comes to the bowl games. This is not West Virginia. This is not USC. You know, I'm starting to believe that the only degree given out of USC is a history degree because y'all stay living in the past when it comes to scores and games and everything else. I don't know. But, hey, I'm going to let you have it this year. I told you so. I'm going to shut up.
Well, no, I will let you know this, though, Isaiah. I know you mentioned you were talking about the teams with the front fours. The other thing that those teams have is some decent secondary play, which we do not get from the Tigers. And that's why I think this thing's going to get out of hand, is I think they have the explosive wideouts that are going to get behind that secondary, and it's going to get ugly.
Jeff, can we honestly accept the fact that y'all won by our mistakes? We gave y'all points. So let's get past that. Let's get back on the target at hand, which is Tennessee and Clemson.
Whoa. Now, hold up, though. We scored all 31 of ours on offense. We handpicked y'all not. Still couldn't beat us.
Handed y'all the ball on the 20 twice. Stop. Anyway, back to Tennessee.
Save it for Rivalry Week 2023.
Yes, we will. Back to Tennessee. Tennessee does scare me when it comes to no-name guys coming in the game and actually making an impact. I watched them against Vanderbilt, and they got some guys. They got some dogs now that didn't get any love against Georgia because they were just beat from the beginning. They were beat when they got off that bus. And the Alabama game just moved so fast, you can't really tell who did what right, who did what wrong. I think Alabama lost that game more than Tennessee won that game. So I'm sorry. I do not see Tennessee doubling us up, as the stat guy says. So we're going to see.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to see, man. Listen, it's a lot of, like I say, you know, I put out on Twitter right after the championship weekend, I was like, how are we feeling about bowl games before bowl games happen? Because you know how we do. If our team wins, we say, well, we beat you in the bowl. If our teams lose, we say, well, everybody sat out. Half the team, 42 players sat out. Like, you know, that's how they do. It's like not half the team. 4 guys were sitting out. The other 10 wasn't even a part of the travel roster for 70% of the season. So
Exactly.
that's what it is. So Tennessee, Clemson fans, y'all make sure y'all get in the comments, man. Let us know how you think the game's going to go, what the score prediction and what the keys to the game is. We want to appreciate my guy Gray for coming on, man. Talking a little bowl game. And we're going to get him out of here for stat guys. Think of something else to say in South Carolina. Carolina's
exactly.
favor.
Oh, that came
So
on
we
here
can
to
get
talk about
on
Tennessee.
to the next bowl game. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Gray. Appreciate
Peace.
it, dog. Oh, stat guy hitting him with it every chance he got.
And you know, hey, been ducking me for too long, man. We ready to rock and roll. These next 365 are going to be paradise.
There it is, man. So, hey, on to the next bowl, to the last bowl, to my guy Stat Guy's bowl game, the Gator Bowl. Even though when they played the Gators, they didn't fare too well. So it's kind of ironic you playing in the Gator Bowl. But listen, a team that absolutely smashed Clemson, your rival, Notre Dame. It's the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. How you feeling about this game, Stat Guy?
No, I'm excited, man. When I was looking at who South Carolina could potentially get, one of the names that was floating around was Illinois, and with the struggles we have had against running the ball, that did not. I know Notre Dame runs it too, but I wanted no part of a Brett Bielema offense and what he's going to try to do to you. I'm really excited about this matchup. Obviously, both of us having the bragging rights of beating them Taters from up north here in South Carolina. So, man, I think this is going to be a really good bowl game. It should be really fun.
Me too, man. And listen, the Clemson, the Orange Bowl is Clemson versus Tennessee. It's the who lost. Both teams lost to the Gamecocks Bowl. And this game, this Tax Slayer Gator Bowl is both teams beating the Tigers Bowl. How about that? I think sometimes the bowl committee can have a little sense of humor, you know what I'm saying? So, speaking of that Notre Dame run game, listen, man, they have been very physical this year. And you know, you guys, how it is against the run. Talk about the Notre Dame offense stats against that South Carolina defense.
Yeah, so Notre Dame, they're scoring 30 points a game. They are rushing for 182. They're only throwing for 199, so not really great. They are definitely more run heavy. And then on the defensive side, South Carolina gives up 27 a game. They give up 192 yards a game on the ground, but they only give up 199 through the air. They will lock it down on that side of the ball if you pass it around. But like I've said to some of our other guests, man, who have gone up against good rushing offenses with bad rushing defenses, red flag, red flag, red flag. We struggle against the run. And look, things aren't going to get easier because earlier today, Zach Pickens, our defensive tackle, announced he would not be playing in the bowl game as he prepares for the NFL draft.
That's what we have. This is a time of the era of football we're in where people are announcing, you know, hey, I'm getting ready for the draft. Speaking of, you won't have to stop Michael Mayer. He has declared that he is going to get ready for the draft. He said he was a Walter Camp All-American first team tight end. He didn't win the Mackey Award. He's tired of it. He's out. Now, he didn't say he was tired of it, people. Y'all chill out. But you won't have to face that. You still will have to face that running game. And listen, from my point of view, I've been telling you, I felt like Zach Pickens was, you know, he was okay. He was solid. He wasn't the 5-star guy. At least he didn't perform like it. Who knows what's going to happen? He could blow up in the NFL, get with the right D-line coach. He has the body type, the talent, but it just hasn't shown like as an elite talent on the field. I mean, you guys, you talked about your rush defense and how it hasn't really been able to stop a lot of teams. So it's not like he was very effective in that. So maybe you get to look at some of the young guys now. That's going to be key for next year. You know, you get all these bowl practices. The good thing is you don't have to play on the 17th like, you know, Florida. So it's not like a 2-week turnaround. So you get some time to get that young guy some practice, whoever's going to be replacing him. You guys did lose Jaheim Bell to the portal. You know what I'm saying? So how you feeling about that?
Yeah, Jaheim Bell to the portal. He committed to, obviously we're recording this on Monday. He committed to Florida State today. And then also Austin Stogner back to Oklahoma. So tight end, position of strength. now not so much. Obviously, Nate Atkins has been playing a ton of tight end. He's the offensive line coach's son. He's lined up at fullback and tight end a lot in the second half of the year. He is a great blocker. So expect to see a bunch of that. But look, man, people are going to leave. Marshawn Lloyd today announcing that he's going to transfer. So we don't have Jaheim Bell, who was our primary rusher while Marshawn was out injured. Now Marshawn also. So you're looking at that. Maybe Christian Bill Smith, the transfer from Wake Forest. Maybe he sees an uptick. We still have Juju McDowell around, who's always kind of been that home run threat, but never been that catalyst or that guy. Maybe he's looked at in more of a primary role. Definitely some question marks on the offensive side, though, with some holes to fill.
Yeah, Marshawn Lloyd going into, the last 3 games, I would have said you didn't have him. That was going to be a blow. But you showed against Tennessee and Clemson. Not saying that you didn't need him, but you didn't need him. You know what I mean? Now, Jaheim Bell did play good in those games, but more so to me, Antoine Wells played good. So, Juice Wells still being there. Spencer Rattler still being hot. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that could be working into your favor is that some of the pieces that he is going to have to use outside of Juice Wells. I mean, Notre Dame's not going to have a lot of film on him, if any. Josh Van's not going to be playing because of the injury, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Josh Van came out today and said that he is back going. The only thing he has yet to do physical wise to pass is run. That's the last thing they're waiting on. But he said that he does not care. He's traveling to the Gator Bowl, and he is giving it 120% to try to be a game time go for the Gator Bowl, which could be huge for what he's capable of. Obviously, he's the type of guy you want on the field.
Listen, if Josh Van can actually, play and run at about 85, 90%, that's going to help out and be huge. I think it'll get to the point. This could actually be a shootout, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I think Notre Dame is physical on both sides of the ball. They also lost Isaiah Foskey, their best defender. So, it's like, or at least what I consider is their best defender. So that's somebody you won't have to put up with. Both of these coaches are new. They both had bowl games last year. Shane Beamer came out on top. Freeman didn't. Freeman put up a good game against Oklahoma State, but it was in the losing end, and then Beamer beat North Carolina. So both of these are young coaches, and they're both, I ain't going to say Freeman's in his second year. He's technically in his first full year, even though he was on the staff last year and actually coached for the bowl game. They're both in their second overall bowl game. We'll say that. So give me the over-under and the point spread in this game.
So the over-under is going to be 52, and Vegas doing Vegas things. The spread is Notre Dame by 2.
Oh, that's such a Vegas thing to do. Almost like say, hey, you tell us who's going to win. We're not going to tell you who's going to win. Like, come on, Vegas. Give us a little bit more than that. Give us 4 or 5 points, man. You like 2 points? Like, come on, man. Like, when I think about scores, I think, at least 3. So that's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, it's definitely wild. I'll tell you one thing we didn't touch on that's going to be big for bowl games across the board with recruiting is we don't play until the 30th of December. Early signing day is on the 14th. That gives these kids 2 weeks on campus to be a part of practices and workouts. South Carolina is expecting to have a huge haul on early signing day, and a couple of those players have already come out today and announced that they're signing and getting up to Columbia ASAP so they can participate in bowl game practice to prepare for spring. And so what a great thing to be good enough to get a later bowl game and get that luxury and not be playing on the 17th of December to where those kids don't get to participate in those practices.
That's right. You're right, because as South Carolina is, Georgia is expecting about 17 early enrollees out of their 23 currently committed players. Notre Dame, I'm sure, will have some early enrollees as well to get. That is invaluable experience. If there's any recruits that should happen to catch this video, listen, man, I get it. You want to go to senior prom and, senior skip day if that's what you do. But listen, that stuff, I say like this. If you're a junior or younger, Go to the prom before your senior year. Enroll early. That way you don't have to worry about missing out. If you're a senior, hey man, some things just ain't meant to be. Go ahead and enroll early if you've already prepared for it, and get out there and get in these bowl practices. Get your face seen by all these coaches. You just never know what can happen, man. You could go into the spring into too deep or starting. Depends on who you're playing behind. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna go to the score predictions. I'm gonna go. Bro, this is another one. This is kind of, I'm gonna be honest, this is kind of like the Orange Bowl with Clemson and Tennessee. I really don't know who's gonna win. I really don't know. South Carolina, if they stay hot on offense, can Notre Dame keep up, score wise? Notre Dame doesn't want to have to score a lot of points, but can South Carolina keep up with Notre Dame's physicality? I don't know. 2 points. Vegas always knows something. Unless I don't like it. Listen, this is how it boils down to me. Shane Beamer's 1-0 in bowl games. Freeman's 0-1 in bowl games. I'm going Beamer ball, 28-27.
I like it. Look, man, I've been tooting my own horn the last couple of weeks. I said we were going 8-4 before the year. We pulled it off. I called the Tennessee and Clemson upset. Look, man, the Beamer train is still rolling on down the track. We're going to go down here and win the Gator Bowl. And I got us actually covering the over and blowing the spread out the water, because I'm taking us to win this game 34-21. South Carolina with the double-digit win. Get you some.
There it is. Stat got calling his shot again, and at the end of the season, he has been red hot. He didn't start out that way, but hey, man, it's like that. Sometimes you got to go through slumps. There you have it, South Carolina and Notre Dame fans. It's the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, man. Get in the comments. Let us know what you think the score is going to be, and if you're pleased with how the direction of your program is going. Both teams, like I say, have pretty new coaches. Before we get out of here, Stat Guy, tell us how you feeling about Beamer.
Hey, man, I'm excited. Look, we got us an offensive coordinator now. At this point, it was a little late. I just wanted somebody so we could get on this recruiting trail and keep the train rolling. But progress, man. Six wins last year, bowl game, won the bowl game. 8 wins this year. Going to go try to get another bowl game. And I'm telling South Carolina fans, that schedule is nice next year. We're continuing to make some noise. I think we're just going to continue to build and get better and better.
There it is, man. Listen, me and Stat Guy been rolling now, man. And those that are still with us, whether you skipped through some of the video or you watched it all, we appreciate you. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. We brought you the bowl preview. We didn't do this last year. We kind of chopped it up. Listen, we did the Peach Bowl with Georgia, Ohio State. We did the Fiesta Bowl, Michigan, TCU. We did the Holiday Bowl with Oregon, UNC. We did the Florida, Oregon State Bowl, the Las Vegas Bowl, the Cheez Bowl, Oklahoma and FSU, the Rose Bowl, Penn State and Utah, the Orange Bowl between Clemson and Tennessee. And the word is they're both going to wear orange. And then we just finished up with Notre Dame and South Carolina. We had some guests on, from some of those teams talking about it. Y'all make sure y'all comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. We will be back to talk playoffs maybe right as the playoffs are happening. But until then, y'all enjoy the content. For my guy, Stat Guy, this is the Coach I. Listen, the season is over. As far as the regular season, it's bowl season now, and we're going to sit back and enjoy it. For the Stat Guy, this is Coach I. Fan Addict. We out.
Peace.
We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the Fan Addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?